So we are at ISA 230 audit documentation. ISA 230 audit documentation, which is another very important topic, because it discusses all the documentation done by the auditor, all the records maintained by the auditor during audit exercise. We've discussed some of these documents. There's a day we discussed the engagement letter. We talked of the management letter. We've talked of auditor's report, yes, amongst other aspects. All these will be given as examples of documentation maintained by the auditor, documentation maintained by the auditor. So to start with, we can say that these are records of work maintained by the auditor during the audit exercise. Records of work maintained by the auditor during the audit exercise. Maintained by the auditor during the audit exercise. All that the auditor is maintaining. All that the auditor is maintaining in records that he's putting down is part of the working papers and relates to audit documentation. Examples, we can list a few. Engagement letter. Number 2, management letter. Number 3, management representation. Management representation letter. Number 4, audit plan. Number 5, audit programs. Audit programs. We even have number 6, audit planning. Public audit planning memorandum. Audit planning memorandum. Number 7, audit checklist. Audit checklist. Number 8, circularization. Circularization letters. Number 9, internal control questionnaires. Internal control questionnaires, we refer to them ICQs. We even talk of number 10, internal control evaluation questionnaires. This is ICEQs. We'll discuss them under ICS in practice. We can even have number 11, narrative notes. Narrative notes. We can have number 12, flowcharts. In short, we are saying anything maintained by the auditor, anything maintained by the auditor is a working paper. These are records that are maintained. These are working papers. These are. The list may be too long. Anything that the auditor maintains during audit exercise is a working paper, is a working paper. Importance ni mingi sana. Na hata importance hautakram. Ukishaelewa hizi, yes, utasema hii ndio tutengeneze contractual map so that we can communicate weaknesses to the management as a way of gathering evidence to ensure that audit work is carried out in a methodical approach for purposes of reviewing the audit. Basically, if you understand each and every of these and how it helps the auditor, you need not to plan. Yes, so importance stroke purpose. Importance stroke purpose. Importance stroke purpose of working papers. Importance stroke purpose of working papers. Number one, to facilitate provision of final review. To facilitate provision of final review of work done. Facilitate provision of final review of work done by audit assistants. Of work done by audit assistants. Of work done by audit assistants. Reviewing the work, checking through the work. We can use the plan, the checklist to review the work done by other audit staff. Number two, they provide details of problems. They provide details of problems. They provide details of problems encountered. They provide details of problems encountered. Details of problems encountered, comma. Evidence of work done. Evidence of work done. Evidence of work done. And conclusion reached. And conclusion reached. And conclusion reached. Naonyesha hiyo mambo yote because for instance, problems encountered zitakuwa kwa management letter. Management letter is letter of internal weaknesses. Issues of evidence of work done tutapata kwa management representation letter. Tutapata hata kwa checklist. Yes, conclusion of course itakuwa kwa auditor's report. So very important. Next point number 3. Encourages auditors to adopt a methodical approach. Encourages auditors to adopt a methodical approach in their work. Encourages auditors to adopt a methodical approach in their work. Methodical approach in their work. Yes, we have the audit plan, we have the audit program, we have an APM, audit planning memorandum. So it will not be a haphazard task. It will be done in a systematic manner. Next, facilitates planning and performance. Facilitates planning and performance of subsequent audits. Facilitates planning and performance of subsequent audits. Facilitates planning and performance of subsequent audits. We also find ourselves doing the same. But if you have a bash, for instance, yes, and you have a budget, then after another 1 year, you have another bash. Yes, you are likely to make reference to the previous budget. And you check how much do we spend in this area, how much did we spend here, how many guests do we have. Now, since we have a smaller number, then we can adjust our budget downward or something. You're making reference to the previous plan to plan for the future. So it facilitates planning and execution of subsequent audits. Next, if sued for negligence, auditors can use working papers. If sued for negligence, auditors can use working papers to defend themselves. If sued for negligence, auditors can use working papers to defend themselves as evidence of work done. 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 Ile kazi imefanyika. So if somebody is suing them that they were negligent, they didn't properly document, they didn't properly plan, they didn't properly execute, they can always avail these records to indicate they were not negligent at all. Next, they allow for continuity. They allow for continuity. They allow for continuity for audit process. Allow for continuity for audit process. Allow for continuity for audit process, especially in situations of change, especially in situations of change of auditors in office, especially in situations of change of auditors in office, especially in situations of change of auditors in office. Auditing is just like accounting. Yes, the crossing balances, the balances carried down done by the previous accountant will act as the opening balances for the new accountant. And so is audit, just like the way when we are handing over, when you're leaving an employment, you may be required to come up with handing over notes so that the incoming is able to take up from where you stopped at. So with the working papers, the incoming auditor can always confirm the objectives that were achieved, the work that was done, the extent of work done. Then they can always have a starting point in the new year's audit. Next point, number 7, serves as a record of evidence. Serves as a record of evidence. Serves as a record of evidence to support the auditor's opinion. Serves as a record of evidence to support the auditor's opinion. Serves as a record of evidence to support the auditor's opinion. Tumeona management representation letter. It is a way of gathering evidence. Then the next point, they provide a training ground. They provide a training ground. They provide a training ground for staff. A training ground for staff. A training ground for staff. How is it a training ground? You know, when I prepare as you watch, yes, or I engage in preparing, next time you'll be able to prepare on your own, especially when you're doing the audit plan. So it's you're auditing for the first time. So you observe as the audit plan is being prepared. Eventually, next time, you'll be able to do it on your own. All right, subtopic, classification of working papers. Classification of working papers. Classification of working papers. Yes, let me explain this before we put this in writing. So major classification classifies working papers as either permanent audit file, permanent audit file, or current audit file. Current audit file. So this is A, this is B. So with A, the permanent audit file, we say that herein the auditor places items which are of continuing importance. Continuing importance. By that we mean, i.e., they are needed in the current audit and so many other audits to come. We need them now and in future audits. Those are the items we are placing in permanent audit file. Just like the name suggests, permanent, that they are permanent in nature, that they are not only pertinent to this year's current audit, but in so many other audits to come. Plus, we say auditors do not make regular reference to them during audit, since they rarely change. Ni vitu hazibadiliki. That's why they are permanent. They are of permanent in nature. Kama Companies Act, tumetumia Cap 486 for so many years. Ni sai tu 2015 wali change, na hata sai ndio tunatumia. So ukishaelewa the contents of the Companies Act, you don't need to make reference to it because it doesn't change. It's permanent. Ukishajua KCE wako Mutiana House, 4th floor, you don't need to keep looking at it, reviewing it. That's where they are, not unless they change their location. Their memorandum and articles of association, it's placed in the permanent audit file because it rarely changes. It remains the same unless there are few changes where you make a reference. Again, the trading license, issues of trading license, the directors register and their shareholding, specialists engaged by the client, like the auditors, like the banks, like the economists who have been engaged, the lawyers, the list of these experts, really we rate change. The engagement rate again, though we highlighted instances when it can change. So it's of permanent in nature, not unless there is a trigger which requires that it be reviewed. It be reviewed. All right, introducing that one. Andika your paragraph you introduce. So that's the introductory statement. That's the introductory statement. Then tutaandika all those examples that I've highlighted. So tumeongea kuhusu statutory materials, e.g. a copy of Companies Act, hiyo ni mojawapo. Roma number 2 tumesema clients rules and regulations or clients constitutive documents, e.g. articles and memorandum of association. They rarely change. Roma number 3, a copy of engagement letter. A copy of engagement letter. Roman number 4, copies of entities trading license. Trading license. Hiyo huwa haibadiliki sana. Certificate of incorporation. Certificate of incorporation. ETC. Certificate of incorporation. ETC. Number 5, details of clients registered offices, details of the client's registered offices, comma, address and physical location, address, physical location. Hiyo pia tumekwisha taja. Number 6 tukasema list of the directors. List of the directors and details of their shareholding. Details of the shareholding, very important. Number 7, list of the client's accounting policies. List of the client's accounting policies. List of the client's accounting policies. Number 8. Number 8, we have talked of a list of books of accounts. List of books of accounts maintained by the client. Books of accounts maintained by the clients. And lastly, I've mentioned about list of the company's advisors. List of the company's advisors, e.g., we've talked of lawyers, auditors, auditors, bankers, stockbrokers, etc. Stockbrokers, etc. So you're saying that you are pricing items which are of continuous importance. They are needed in the current audit and so many other audits to come. We don't make regular reference to them since they rarely change. Statutory materials, e.g., a copy of Companies Act. The contents. You're good to go all the other times. You don't have to make reference again. Clients' constitutive documents like articles and memorandum of association, they rarely change. A copy of engagement letter, copies of entities trading license, certificate of incorporation, for instance, they remain the same. Yes. Details of clients' registered offices. That's where we are for so long. Addresses and physical location. List of directors and details of their shareholding. Again, it's likely to remain in that format for so long. List of clients' accounting policies. Which accounting policies are we applying? Yes. List of books of accounts maintained by the client. Vitabu gani anaweka? Zinakuwa tofauti. Because if we are an NPO, not-for-profit making organization, you'll find us preparing receipts and payments, income and expenditure. Yes. If it's a profit-making entity, you'll find us preparing income statement, statement of financial position, and so on. So we always indicate exactly the records that you are maintaining. And number 9, list of companies' advisors, e.g., the lawyers, the auditors, the bankers, stockbrokers, etc., 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 etc. So what you're supposed to get right is we are pricing items which are of continuous importance, needed in this year's audit and in so many other audits to come, and in so many other audits to come, so many other audits to come. All right, we look at B, current audit file. So hii nayo inaweka vitu zenye tunahitaji hii audit. Hii audit yenye tunafanya. So it captures items which are pertinent to the current year's audit. Although may be needed in future, we say that may be needed in future, but they are pertinent to the current year's audit, very much needed in the current year's audit. Number one, of course, to record financial statements, because these are the records that we are auditing. These are the books of accounts that we are auditing. They form part of the contents of the current audit file. Yes, it maintains items which are pertinent to the current year's audit, to the current year's audit, pertinent to the current year's audit, and may be needed in the subsequent audits. So pertinent to the current year's audit. Kuna vitu, we need them now so much, but they may be needed in future. But they are for this year. These are the ones, they are for so many years. These are for this year, although we may find some of them which may be very important when it comes to future audits, contents. Contents of current audit file. Contents. Number one, copies of clients' financial statements. Copies of clients' financial statements. Copies of clients' financial statements being audited. Hiyo tumesema ni number one, sababu hii ndio tunahitaji this year. This is what we are reviewing, so we require it so very much. We require it so very much. Number two, a description of the clients. A description of the client's accounting. Client's accounting and ICS. Tunataka kuelewa controls zenye client ameweka. Controls zenye client ameweka. Itazabidi tufute hapa number one. You're through with this one? All right. So tumesema vitabu, tumesema records za clients, nature of ICS. Hapo ndio huwa tunasema kwamba controls could be strong or weak. Yes, we require to see nature of the client's ICSs and accounting systems. Number three, audit programs. Audit programs. Yes, we prepare program. Program tunaelewa, tukiwa na harusi kunakuwa na harusi. Program ina to guide what to be done at every stage. Who is responsible, who is in charge, how much time should it take. Ni hivyo, audit programs for every financial statement element. For every financial statement element. Number four, schedules. Schedules of all items. Of all items contained in the balance sheet. Contained in the balance sheet. By the way, you know that all the components of the balance sheet have got some schedules. PPE schedules. Stock has got either stock bin cards, either RIFO, FIFO, weighted average. Capital items, you have the statement of changes in equity. Yes. Then debtors, creditors, we have control accounts, indicating summary of each and every component. Bank, we have bank reconciliation. You're able to see this. Cash summaries. So we want to see schedules of all items contained in the balance sheet. Number 5, schedules of all items. Schedules of all items in the income statement. In the income statement. Come on, notes. Ukiweka depreciation one figure, we need to see a summary of all this depreciation. Ukiweka administration expenses, we want to see a summary of all the what is captured in the administration, what makes up these expense items. We want to see the makeup of all these items in the income statement. Next, an audit completion checklist. An audit completion checklist. We always target. We have targets. What do you want to achieve? You list them down. So at the end of audit exercise, now you can tell whether you achieved everything because you have a checklist. Ata ukianza ku-audit, you always prepare a checklist of the items you require the client to give you. I want my client to give me their bank statements, to give them their receipt books, their checkbooks, counterfoils. I require all this. So when they give you, you tick, you tick, you tick, you tick. Something missing, yes, you need to ask why it is missing. What is letter of representation? Abel, actually, that's what we'll start with on Saturday. On Saturday, item number 1 will be ISA number 580, letter of representation. Is a document used to gather evidence from the management. Yes, kuna evidence management ndio tu wanajua. Yes, we require them to prepare a representation letter. A representation letter. So it's a way of gathering evidence. Is a way of gathering evidence. Kuna mtu anauliza tena leo. You sorry to rejibu last time. How many topics have been covered so far? Yes. Yes. Nilikwambia hii story saa zingine inasumbua watu sana. Yes. Kuna picha tulipiga. Somebody can share. Mtu share ile picha tulipiga. Yes. Different from letter of engagement. Very different because management representation letter prepared by management to the auditor. Engagement letter prepared by the auditor to the management. I'll emphasize about those 3 letters. Engagement letter, representation letter, management letter. Yes. So Abel. So somebody to share what we screenshot the previous class about the topics covered and those which are remaining. Hapo kwa hiyo wall ndio huyo mheshimiwa aone. All right, so an audit completion checklist. Next. Copies of management letter. Copies of management letter. Copies of management letter. Copies of management letter. Hiyo tunaita letter of internal weaknesses. Tutaiandika copies of management letter. Next. Copies of representation letters. Copies of representation letters. Copies of representation letters obtained from clients. Obtained from clients. Obtained from clients. Obtained from clients. Next. Copies of extended trial balance. Copies of extended trial balance used by auditors. Copies of extended trial balance. Copies of extended trial balance used by auditors in making adjustments. In making adjustments for the final accounts. 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 Making adjustments for the final. Kuna trial balance huwa inatengenezwa na auditors. Si tumezoea ile audit ile trial balance moja peke yake. Tunaitaka hii extended trial balance. Na yote lazima ibalance. Yote lazima ibalance. We refer to this as the extended trial balance. Yes. Hapa tunaweka this of course is debit, this is credit. This here we record the balances brought down. Yeah, 2021. Then hapa tunaweka debit and credit, adjustments. Then debit and credit, the balances carried down. Zote lazima zibalance. Zote balance. Nikisema zote huwa zina balance ni hii ina balance na hii ina balance na hii ina balance na hii. So when these balances, now use these to prepare records. Actually, you don't even need to prepare the records. We connect with advanced Excel. Yes, that you have formulas taking these figures to where they should be. So you update these, it balances, high chances. You find that other books of accounts are balancing. Other books of accounts are, this is what we call extended trail balance. It is a working paper and it is posted in the current audit file because it's what we are using now for purposes of reporting about this year's performance, about this year's performance. Any questions so far? All right. Shafuta, the beginning part we've already labbed. So I would like to explain other two types of working papers. Of course, current and the permanent are the main ones. Get this right, then we write something. Kwamba tuko na standardization. Standardization of working papers. Standardization of working papers. Na tuko na automated working papers. Standardization of working papers ni kumaanisha kwamba we prepare the working papers well in advance. So you standardize them. You come up with very good working papers to be used in so many other audits. When you standardize them, like the auditor's report is in soft copy. Like I have a copy here. Yes, every other time I'm doing an audit, I only change a few things. The client's name, the address, the date, the year of account. Other things remains the same. Apart from the opinion, I change the opinion, then I sign. That's standardized working paper. The internal control questionnaires could be prepared well in advance, and they're used in so many other audits. That's what you mean by standardization of working papers. To summer planning, we'll discuss two types of programs: standard programs and progressive programs. Standard programs are prepared well in advance before you commence audit. Before you start audit, you prepare them. So they guide you in this audit, next year's audit, next year but one audit, and so on, because they are standardized. They are of high quality because you have considered all the factors before putting them in place. So the advantage is they're economical, there is uniformity, consistency, audit is predictable on how it will be carried out. Yes, saves audit time, enhances efficiency, but again, they have challenges because since you're using them year in, year out, the client staff will know them, and now they'll be able to circumvent your procedures. Sababu wanajua our auditor uses this route. So they are sure if they use this route to perpetuate fraud, you will not detect it because you've audited them there next year using the same program. So they are sure you are using it next year. So they'll be able to circumvent your controls and perpetuate fraud. Yes. Plus, of course, the things may be different, but since you've standardized this, or else in simpler terms, there is an element of inflexibility. They're so rigid because every other time you're using them, there's no room to flex, to adjust to the prevailing circumstances. Then automated from English, meaning this when you have computerized our working papers. They're in soft copy. They are not hard copy like our books here. Yes, they are in soft copy. Yes, Abel knows this, that you change some names, but you forget to change others. When you have, it happens. Yes, or you add, you forget to delete. So it's reading KC and another company. Yes, that's why we always, yes, copy pasting. Yes, it brings issues. It requires, I agree on that, that if you're not so keen, you'll have a mixed up report with different dates, different years, several clients therein. But if somebody checks through your work, you are likely to detect this. That's why we talk of proofreading before final copy. Even if you did a final copy, you need to check through to make sure you perform quality audit. Thanks for that observation. So automated working papers, it is in soft copy. They are highly recommended because adjusting is very easy. Now, like these notes of mine, if I want to add something here, it may be very challenging. But if they were in soft copy, I just add, I delete, I add, it's very easy. Then communicating is very easy. Currently, you can just touch a button and send through WhatsApp, send through email to the audit staff in the field, or the audit staff in the field communicating to the audit partner or the audit manager. It's very easy. Plus, when they are automated, they are very safe because you input passwords to restrict access. Yes. So safety will be enhanced. But of course, we know the issues of viral attacks and hacking and such other issues. Situandike hiyo story kwanza. Subtopic: standardization of working papers. Standardization of working papers. Standardization of working papers. Standardization of working papers. Right, and say it is a common practice. It is a common practice. It is a common practice for audit firms. It is a common practice for audit firms to use standard documents. Audit firms to use standard documents during their audit engagement. To use standard documents during their audit engagement. To use standard documents during their audit engagement. Full stop. Such standard documents may include engagement and management representation letter, engagement and management representation letter, engagement and management representation letter, comma, audit completion checklist, audit completion checklist, audit completion checklist, audit completion checklist, comma, audit programs, etc., etc., audit programs, etc., 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 full stop. Another paragraph. The use of such standard documents, the use of such standard documents, the use of such standard documents is common due to advantages. The use of such standard documents is common due to advantages, including the following. Due to advantages, including the following. Due to advantages, including the following. Number one, tumesema, they provide consistency. They provide consistency and uniformity. They provide consistency and uniformity in the audit work. They provide consistency and uniformity in the audit work. Consistency and uniformity in the audit work. Number two, they ensure that essential procedures, are not overlooked. They ensure that essential procedures are not overlooked during the audit. Essential procedures are not overlooked during the audit. It's because you have all the time to plan. You are deciding this, you're putting them down before you commence audit. So you analyze everything, so nothing is overlooked. So we are saying they ensure that essential procedures are not overlooked during the audit. Number 2, they create efficiency in the review process. 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 Efficiency in the review process. Next, they help to familiarize. They help to familiarize juniors. They help to familiarize juniors. They help to familiarize juniors and inexperienced juniors and inexperienced audit staff. They help to familiarize juniors and inexperienced audit staff, especially during new function, especially during new function, especially during new function, especially during new function, such as clients stock taking, 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 clients stock. All right. We can now be able to summarize. Yes. So ISA, International Standards of Audit. At advanced level, next semester, because I'm sure next semester you're coming to advanced level. You say amen. IS, accounting standards. IS is International Accounting Standards. Auditing is International Standards of Audit. You see, IAS, we have number 1 up to 41. Yes, number 1 is preparation and presentation of financial statements. 41 is on agriculture. Yes, agriculture. Yes. So then ISA, they go skipping. They don't follow in that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually start with the number 100. After 100, I believe it's 200 objectives. 200, after 200 is to 10, to 20, to 30, to 40, to 50, to 60, to 70. We don't have a to 80, we don't have a to 90, we have a 300. That's with the skip. Yes, they skip. Advanced level, it's a must. It's a must. You have no option. You'll be asked, citing relevant ISAs, discuss audit risk. Like audit risk, they always ask for ISAs. The audit risk we covered here. So you're answering a question on audit risk, but you find elements of ISA 560 subsequent events, elements of IAS number 18 on revenue recognition, those things you're required to capture. Here you are not required to. You must not. But if you're able to get them right, you are advantaged. The few of them, like audit documentation, auditor's report, planning, evidence is a 500. Those ones you can't miss out. At least you get them right. Yes. Hata saa zingine unatisha examiner kidogo. Unamwonyesha unajua. Kumwonyesha unajua anakuwa convinced. He is handling a paper for a person who is not guessing. You know this. Yes. So maybe next class I'll highlight just a few, like 7 of them that we try to get them. Such that even when you go for an interview, sometimes you're asked, which ISAs do you know? Which ISS do you know? Me, I've never, every other interview I've gone, I'm always asked about this. I mean, mpaka wanaangaliana. Yes, so it's important. They give you an upper end. Yes, yes, nakuwa muhimu sana. So I'll highlight just a few that it's not compulsory that we get them, but just a few, the most basic ones. The most basic ones. The most basic ones at least itakuwa muhimu tukakuwa nazo. All right, so I've explained what about standardization. I've explained about automated working papers. I want to mention something about auditor's notebook. Auditor's notebook, we all know about notebook. Sometimes we call it auditor's diary. Yes, you still have diaries. Yes, kwa ofisi kama uko na diary mpya unaletea sisi hapa. Yes, auditors kitambo watu walikuwa wanaleta calendars. Calendars watu bado wanahang kwa nyumba nowadays. Kwa? Iko kwa simu. Si ni kweli? Hata diary iko kwa simu. Ni kweli? Yes, auditor's diary or auditor's notebook. I've chosen to do a diary first because you know what happens in a diary. We record the most important dates. When I record date fulani, I plan to do this. These are the date I plan to do this. The same for auditor. He captures the most important dates. Dates like when am I commencing the audit of this client? When is the AGM? When is the stock take date? When is what happening? Those are the very most important dates we capture therein. Number two, yes, please. Yes, I've skipped because I've already sent the notes. Because if I dictate, this topic will not end. Na situshaelewa automated ni nini? Na tunashaelewa advantages. That's why I call you my learned friends. Yes, sababu hiyo najua sasa tushakamata hivi ni kufinalize to at your free time. Ukiwa holiday kesho, that's the Friday, you'll be able to, yes. Number two, you come across some errors during audit. This is an error. We put them there in the diary so that you are able at the end of the audit exercise to record them in the management letter. Now you can tell management letter results of weaknesses. So the few errors you come across, you highlight them. You highlight them in your diary so that at the tail end of the audit exercise, you prepare a management letter. Number three, you may come issues which require some clarification. Hata ukisoma kwa nyumba unakutana na hii kitu nahitaji Clement aelezee vizuri. Ama hii point, hii figure ilitoka wapi? I need to confirm from JM or somebody. Yes. So unaandika hizo vitu kwa diary so that you don't forget. Because there are issues in the client's operations that require clarification either from the client staff, or from the audit manager. Because maybe you've forgotten about the treatment of a certain item. You need some clarifications done. These are the items we record in the auditor's diary. It is an addition of working papers on top of what we've just discussed. Yes. So diary, list of books of accounts or records maintained by the client, list of names and titles of the client's officials, points, issues requiring clarification or explanations, details of any missing documents. Yes. Unaenda unakuta invoice number 7 iko wapi? I need this to be explained. Unaweka kwa diary ndio usisahau so that you don't forget to inquire. All right, the last thing that I want to explain, and it's very, very important, it's details of missing documents. Details of missing documents. Unaenda unakuta checkbook fulani haipatikani. Unaiandika hapo so that you inquire, where is this checkbook? Yes. I want us to discuss ownership of working papers. I've discussed this in the past. Ownership of working papers. Of course, nishatuma hiyo maneno. Na hapa kuna kesi inakuwa Stalking Sky. Stalking Sky versus Bright Graham. Bright Graham of 1938. Hii ni kesi ya UK. Client walikuwa wanavurutana na auditor. Client alikuwa anasema hizi working papers zote tumesoma ni zake. Sababu gani? Number one, zina called the secret of the company. Ni kama uende hosi daktari andike mambo zako zote alafu anabaki na ile karatasi, unashindwa aje? Majina ni zangu, tests ni zangu, results ni zangu. Sasa inabaki na daktari aje, wewe daktari leta karatasi yangu. Yes, that was the reasoning of the client. They wanted the working papers because they contained their secrets. Auditor has been paid audit fee. It's all about being, you've done your work, I've paid you audit fee, bring my papers. Yes, that was the reasoning of the client, while the auditor was arguing that I'm the one who has obtained them. I'm the one who have prepared them. Yes, I'm not an agent. I'm not your agent as client. I'm an independent contractor. That was the reasoning of the auditor. So they took the issue to court, and the court ruled in favor of auditors. Courts ruled in favor of auditors, that auditors are the bona fide owners of the working papers. Auditors are the bona fide owners of the working papers because they are independent contractors. Plus, of course, we've said, if they are sued, for instance, they can always provide these working papers to defend themselves in a court of law. Plus, tunasema kwamba they need to maintain these papers for a minimum period of 6 years. Ukimaliza auditing leo, the next 6 years, those working papers should be intact and observe confidentiality. Isikuwe accessed to unauthorized persons for 6 years. Although ISPAC recommends we retain them for 9 years. Why do they recommend 9 years? Because of ile case require golden bag. Wakati wa golden bag kuna documents hazikupatikana. Na sababu 6 years ilikuwa imelapse, there were no basis of instituting litigation on the persons concerned. So they thought that it needs to be extended at least so that if any case arises in a decade, within a decade, we can always avail these working papers. We can always avail these working papers. That's it on ISA 230 audit documentation. And nimesha kutumia hizo notes zote sasa. Nisha kutumia inahitaji kuwekelewa hiyo ni charge tu. Yes, nisha kutumia those notes of all those working papers. So sisi ni kuendelea tu when we meet in the next class. We meet. Kuna swali naona imetumwa hapo kwa group yetu. Kuna jamaa fulani ametuma hiyo swali. Where is it? Amenitumia direct hapa. Ameshare vile unaiona hapo kwa group. Kuna mahali ameshare kwa conversation yetu. Maybe he has sent it direct to me. Can you be able to see some questions somewhere? Although I can always share in our group. Those are the notes. So the question he has sent, yes. Kuna kaswali hapo. Oh, haku ametuma kwa group. Nimekatuma. (2023) 2019. Check in the WhatsApp group. Have I sent? Yes. There. Yes, kuna swali hapo. A running friend of ours is asking. Ni kama amenitumia privately. But ni muhimu. Si hata tukiomba kwa siri Mungu anajibu kwa? Excellent. Unauliza kwa siri, Mungu anajibu kwa wazi. Hapo watu wameokoka. So na mimi nimeulizwa kwa siri. Sasa mimi kama Sonko bado na mimi naongea faragani. Naongea kwa kwa wazi. Yes, Sonko hawezi weka secret. But so I'll also not keep it because maybe ameuliza na inaweza tusaidia na hata kwa mtihani. At the 6 characteristics of audit investigations. Highlight 6 characteristics of audit investigations. Talk of objectivity. Point tuliweka mahali. Yes, you can talk of objectivity. You can talk of independence. At least kutoka kando kidogo. Systematic approach. Andika tu mahali. Highlight kwa margin ya kitabu. Sababu hatujui kwa nini huyu mheshimiwa ameuliza hii swali. Inaweza kuwa kuna watu wanaongeaga na roho. Yes. Kuna watu wanaongeaga na roho. Yes. Systematic approach. So moja ni objectivity, independence, systematic approach. detailed examination. It's so detailed. We said that. Detailed examination. Yes, confidentiality. You can also mention it there. Confidentiality. Yes, professional standards. You have to adhere to professional standards. Yeah, we mentioned that. Of report preparation, we said that we need to do a report. Report preparation. The next one is Kaizen. Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese term. Kai means continuous. Zen means improve. Ah, excellent. Yes. Hata kuna vitabu kwa streets zinaitwa Kaizen. Hata jana nikipitia kwa Moi Avenue niliona mtu anauza kitabu inaitwa Kaizen. Yes, Kaizen is continuous improvement. Nafunzaga hiyo kwa management. Yes, I'm good in management. When we meet, tunanyorosha maneno sawa sawa. All right, then hii swali lingine ameuliza, so hizo ni random answers. Maybe I also need to sit down and look. This was characteristics of audit investigations. Characteristics of audit investigations. Ni swali tu imeulizwa ya 2019 by a friend. I didn't have time to look at it. You know, sometimes inabidigi mtu akae chini angalie in and out. So na sina mouse ya kuscroll hapa na hii laptop yangu inakuwa na issues. Kuna maswali naona zinaulizwa. Yes, it's possible, Immaculate, to get all those handwritten notes. Nazituma. Characteristics of audit investigations. Audit investigations. Characteristics of audit investigations. Oh, I do again. Somebody was absent. Welcome back. Welcome back. Objectivity. Objectivity. Independence. Independence. Systematic approach. You can't just do it randomly. You have to be systematic. We captured the typical approach in forensic audit. You remember those steps. Next, detailed examination. Detailed examination. Next, professional standards. Professional standards. Next, confidentiality. Confidentiality. Next, report preparation. Report preparation. Hiyo ingine inaitwa Kaizen or continuous improvement ni when you identify areas of weaknesses which made it possible for fraud to be perpetuated, you advise them on how to improve. You advise them how to improve so that to arrest the situation or to prevent recurrence, to prevent recurrence of the same in future. So ako kaswali kengine kanauliza reasons why audit investigations may be conducted. Subtopic, the next question, andika hapa, the next subtopic. Reasons why audit investigations may be conducted. Reasons why audit investigations may be conducted. Ushike, it's not purely forensic. It's audit investigations, but there is an element of investigation. Why do we carry out forensic audit or forensic investigations? Detect fraud. So andika number 1, fraud detection. Fraud detection, fraud detection, fraud detection, fraud detection. Next, risk management, risk management, risk management. Next, due diligence, due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. Next, internal control assessment, internal control assessment. Internal control assessment, internal control assessment. Next, compliance with external requirements, compliance with external requirements, compliance with external requirements, compliance with external requirements. Next, financial statement verification, financial statement verification, etc, etc. Financial statement verification, etc, etc. Yes, huyo rafiki ananikumbusha kwamba tunafaa kuangalia maswali kadhaa. The latest you should be covering our syllabus is August 7th. After that, we need revision, 4 classes for revision. So the week of 7th to 14th and 14th to 19th. 19th is on Saturday. 21st. 21st of August is on? It's on a Monday. Or from Tuesday. It depends with the papers you've booked. But exams will commence on 21st. So we have 4 sessions. We'll have 4 sessions where we'll not open our books. I will not open my book. You give me answers. At least tutakuwa na reversed role. At least nipumue, naongeaga sana. Yes. Hizo wiki mbili ni wewe utakuwa unaongea. Nauliza, it will be topical. Tunasema topic 1, nature and purpose of audit. Elezea mimi kuhusu the 3 auditing concepts. True and fair view, professional skepticism and the expectations gap. Na unajibu peke yako. Unanipea, tunaenda kwa hiyo topic nyingine, legal and professional framework. Tunaongea kuhusu 8 ways of minimizing auditors liability. Unanipea majibu peke yako because hata kwa mtihani utajibu peke yako. Tukizoea unaleta points 2, mwingine 1, mwingine 3, sasa kwa mtihani utafanya aje? Na uko peke yako. So prepare yourself. Yes, itakuwa mzuri sana. Nauliza swali na hata sasa hiyo ndio tutamark nayo register. You give me correct answers, I mark you present. Because you can't convince me you are present. Praise God. You can't convince me you are present and you can't give me the answers and we covered together. So hiyo ndio nitakuwa na mark. You give me correct answers, I mark present. Correct answers, present. Half answers, half present. There's wrong answers, you can't convince me you are present. Anyway, ni motivation tu ya kusoma. Ni motivation tu tusome kabisa. So when we meet next on Saturday, what are we covering? What are we covering on? Good. On Saturday, this is what we are covering. ISA number 580, ISA number 560, ISA number 570. You may carry packed supper just in case we extend. Carry packed supper and maybe clothes to change to go to church just in case. Because we must cover all this before we leave. Oh, so that I'll show you what you'll do. We'll not write. We'll not write. But to ensure you concentrate, let me give the notes immediately right after.
Yeah, then
it's not a good way to do it that way. Okay. Anyway, ni matisho tu kidogo ya extend. Be sure we'll cover this within 2 hours. Then before I leave this class, I'll give you the notes. When you have notes in advance, there's trouble. There's trouble. I tried last semester early morning section 6. Now ikakuwa tena jamani kunisupervise chenye nasema. Nikiskip line moja anakaribu sura. Nasema kwa nini anaruka hii? So inakuwa sasa hasikizi ni kuangalia hii amesema, hii hajasema. Ushiki. But you see now, since you didn't have this and I've shared the notes, you wrote something small. Yes, if you had the notes, be sure ungeandika. And your handwriting is the best. It's the best. You can't compare it with the anyone's. So just get ready. That's what we'll discuss. Then I'll give you the notes. I'll give you all the notes. They are very helpful. They are good when they are with you and not with me. Auditors? Oh, dairy. Oh, ni kama kadairy haka tunabebaga kadogo. Kadairy. Yes, huwa kanabebwa sana. Auditors diary or notebook, eh? Yes. So yes, errors. Aki-audit, akikutana na errors here and there, he highlights them in the diary. So that later, he is able to prepare a management letter. Management letter captures all the errors, misstatements, inconsistencies, departure from. Yes. So pia anaweka very important dates. Very important dates. When to commence audit, when to hold the AGM, when to perform the stock take. Ingine nayo ni nini hii? Yes, items which require clarification from the audit partner, from the client, from the audit partner or the client. Yes, tunaziweka pale. Now you have a hint, eh? Yes, lakini bado iko kwa hizo notes nimetuma. Iko kwa hizo notes zenye nimetuma. Let's see the grace. Tuende kama tumebarikiwa. And now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Blessed evening. Be safe. Be safe. We link up Saturday.